university after completing his first architectural studies at Delft in the Netherlands. He went back and started teaching in 1960 at the university in Delft, teaching architecture, and also opened his own office to practice architecture. He teaches first and second year design at the university, and contrary to the way our first year people meet architecture, our people meet architecture 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. He meets his students for 3 hours, 1 day a week. So he expects quite a lot of work from them in between times. It's very interesting to see what they're doing in Delft with their architectural curriculum. It's changing, as are the majority of the architectural curriculum in this country. But without any further note, I would like to introduce Mr. Haak and say that he will speak on the history of Dutch historical aspects of Dutch architecture first, and then he'd like to have a few minutes to catch a breath and maybe a glass of water, maybe about 5 or 10 minutes, and give you a chance to stretch, and then he'll continue with modern Dutch architecture. Mr. Haak.
Well, my dear friends, it's a little bit difficult for a foreigner to speak in your language, but I try. I have some slides from Holland, and I'm very glad that not only architects in the future, but also other people are attending this lecture, so this will be a kind of general speech about architecture in the Netherlands. The architecture in the Netherlands is for a great deal established by scale, climate, the site, and the strength of the soil. The area of the Netherlands is, what I'm told, the third of the state of Indiana, and in my country 12 million people find their place to live more or less close together. Holland is the most dense country on this world. The climate is a sea climate, and on two sides we have neighbors, the Belgians and the Germans. Maybe it's better I just draw a small map so you know what I'm talking about. This is Netherlands as I should say it looks like. Lots of islands here. This is the North Sea, this is here Germany, and here we have Belgium. This is what you call the Zuiderzee, here we have some islands again. So you see, we are on both sides, we have neighbors, the Germans and the Belgians, and on the other side we have the sea. The Netherlands of the lowlands are a part of a large delta area of several rivers. The rivers are flowing to the North Sea. More than a third of our country is below sea level, and on behalf of our dikes and pumps, we live there. A French expression is that God created the world, but the Dutchman created his own country. As a result of our being a small part in Europe, one does not find a large palaces, big-sized monasteries, or enormous cathedrals. Holland has always been a country of simple people. There were no mighty kings nor other people to activate the need of these large buildings. The most of the important architecture before 1900 are town halls and mansions, as well in the large cities as in the small villages. The beauty of the cities was mainly confirmed by rows of houses made for important merchants, a town hall, and some other churches. Because of the climate being very moderate, our architecture is very open to catch the sun in the houses, and one will see through the centuries large windows. This is in modern architecture of today a very common sight, but as we look in the 16th century architecture in the Netherlands, one will see we used already large windows at that time. As a result of being located in the delta of Western Europe, we got many foreign influences, but the Dutch always give the foreign influence a kind of a Dutch flavor. The fact that our soil, especially the west part of Holland, is mostly clay, our most common building material is brick. Another common material is wood and reed. I like to show you some slides of the several landscapes of my country and the architecture related to these areas. The first slide I like to show you is the map of Holland as it was millions, now let's say ages ago, centuries ago. It was about 3,000 years before Christ. Maybe this light can go out so you can see it better. Yes. You see here, this is a complete different one as you see the next slide I show you later on. Here is a row of dunes, and behind the dunes you have a swamp area. It's very low and it's very wet in winter time. Here is what you can call the Zuiderzee. And this is more or less higher land. Here you see Holland as it is today. It has changed its outlines very much, but still we have the dunes here. At IJsselmeer, the former Zuiderzee. In 1932 this is closed by a huge dike. And here we are now reclaiming new lands. This is the first folder, the second is just finished, and now we are working on this one, and finally we will have around 2000 the last folder here. This basin will be a freshwater basin to our water supply. On the other hand, here we have some islands, and we closed them here now up because we had a major flood in 1952, and this whole area was flooded. So to get protection, we made huge dikes here, and we empty this land again for the use of our own country to make some more dairy products or other farm products. Here you see a very nice painting by Jan van Gooyen. It's a very well-known painter in Holland. The date is 1640, and it means skating on the ice. This is just a scene of our country in wintertime. You see large areas of water frozen by ice, and of course you see some windmills and other villages around. Another painting by Jan van Gooyen is the view on the river. Here you see how rivers still are today. We use the same ships, and although this is a painting and is more or less seen by an artist, I assure you we have these views today. Going on with showing you some paintings because an artist can do it so well, this is a very rare painting by Piet Mondrian. Piet Mondrian, maybe many of you know him because he's a very abstract painter, but before he started to be an abstract painter, he painted realistic. In 1915 he made this painting of an area in the south part of Holland, and it's funny to see here you have two dikes with already between the river. This we call the summer dike, and that we call the winter dike. In the summertime the water doesn't go very high, so it stays in here, but in wintertime it's overflowed this dike, and this has been our last protection, and this whole area is flooded summertime the cows just graze there. Again, another part, I told you about the dunes. This is a painting also this is made by Ruisdael. It's a fisherman hut behind the dunes in the west part of Holland. In the valleys of the dunes, you can see it on the painting more or less, they are planting some potato fields to have the potatoes. So here you see a fisherman's hut, and this is the scenery of the dunes. Today you can still see the fisherman huts in the small villages near the North Sea, a settlement very close together to keep the storm and the wind out of the streets and to protect the men who live there against all the bad climate things. It's very interesting to see how the scale is very small. This is a life-size man. This is a picture. You can see, you can touch with your hands the ground, and this just settlement of very small houses is very common for those small places there. The landscape behind the dunes is the landscape where we are very well known for. It's are the bulb and the tulip fields. The soil is a mixture of clay and sand, and of course some peat what's underneath. And this is a very fertile soil for growing our tulips. Well, I have showed you some slides about how our landscape, and interesting to know how we are living there. Way back in the early times, we had some places in the high parts of Holland, so in the east part, and they had remains of the ice ages, because on certain spots the ground was very humid, and even in very dry summers, as you have had now, the water stays in a small pond, and the pastures around stay very green. Around those places, people put their farmhouses, and they call this place a common, because in very dry summers the cattle can graze there and have the water. And around this common, as you see in this type of layout, around this common they put their houses, and behind their houses they have their private routes to grow their cattle and so on. But this stays the common. As you see here you see a kind of triangular common with the farmhouses down, and of course there are some farmers living far away from this main area, what you can call a village, an S-dorp, Dutch name, it's not translated. They like to go to church, and they follow a straight line to the main church somewhere here. And those main straight lines create the place where they extend their villages. So you see those straight lines towards the center is the extension place for this village. So this whole village doesn't grow just in circles, but has kind of tentacles, things like an inkfish head. This is the way they build their houses, farmhouses, very simple, very traditional. It's one, in the early time it was just one big house with the cattle on one side, the cow, and without any partition, the farmer and his wife live on the other side. So man and animal, they just had one big shelter. Of course, this is not existing anymore, and they put in a partition, and then you have real living area and another area for just for the barn. Here's another type, very interesting. This is at the very edge of the border of Germany and Holland, and here you get another type of building material. This is a wooden frame in this case filled with brick, but in the early time they filled it in with twigs and clay. The clay has to be replaced each year because the rain took the clay off and then the twigs remain. This is the type of house where Bill told you this is the living area, and here you have this is the cattle area, this is the barn, and here you have the living area. I told you that wood is one of our famous building materials in the past. Today the insurance is not very fond of it because it's it catches fire very easy, so you have to pay a large amount of money on thatched roofs. This roof is from the old days and it has been repaired for many times. And it looks like an old tower. My mother has put in some more walls. In the round 1000, it's a very interesting time in Europe. The monks have put up lots of new churches, and of course, well, it's a certain reaction. Mankind thought, in the west part of Europe, that the year 1000 was the end of the days, it should be the end of the world. But after 1000, the world is still existing, so it's a kind of feeling free, and all monks went out and they made all other settlements. And from France we get a lot of Cistercian monks, and they went up to the north part of Holland, just right here, and in this area were very wet and very risky enterprise to establish there. They made artificial hills, and on top of the hills they put a very nice church. And on those artificial hills, farmhouses were placed, and in very dangerous times when the flood came in, all the cattle and cows and so on were gathered on top of the hill near the church and near the farmhouses. And on this artificial hill we had many old villages in the north part of Holland. Here you see a church. It's Roman. It had Roman arches, but it has also Gothic arches. Well, it's in between style. It's a Romano-Gothic style, and special brought by the Cistercian monks from France to Holland. Here you see an old farmhouse just standing on more or less an artificial hill. It's an artificial hill, but by the edges it is just like a pudding. It has a little bit salad and it comes down. But still you can see a slight hill. For us Dutch people, this is still a hill. I know that in the United States you have higher hills, but for us it's I mentioned the word dikes, and for who doesn't know what it is exactly, here at the very edge on the right side you see the water of the river quite high, and far below the level of the water level you see there dry land, and this is artificial dike made by people, and the water runs out this area and it comes out into the canal. Maybe I make a little drawing to know how we keep that 1/3 of our land dry through the ages. We are doing now not with windmills but with pumps, but the system is still the same. I maybe get some light here to explain this. Here you have very low land. It's a kind of lake, and they put an artificial dike around the lake, and they put on top of the lake a windmill. And the windmill pumps the water from this small ditch into a bigger ditch on this side. So the water level from here is going to here. This system runs through this ditch, and another windmill coming on this dike pumps this water into that area. Finally, so this is the same level, much higher than here. Here's a big windmill, and pumps it in a very large canal here. And this canal is more or less higher than our low tide. So on low tide we open the gates, and the water supply of this high canal is streaming easily into the sea. So it's going by steps from the lowest part, step by step, into a main canal, and that main canal empties his water supply into the sea at low tide. They are doing this now with pumps, but the system is just the same. Here you see such a mill, and those mills, not one mill can dry it, make a lake dry, you need many of them. So this is a very old way to dry, to reclaim that, to dry lakes and so on. In this new polder, we call that a polder, new farmhouses were erected, and here you see in the north part of West Holland, the west part behind the dunes, we have this kind of farmhouse with the barn in wood, with the front of it is where the farmer lives, and he makes a nice elevation. This is around 1700s, this farmhouse. When the farmer is very rich, he likes to have a large mansion. And here you see a real mansion, and it's placed in front of a huge barn. This is a very rich farmer in the north part, and you can see that this type of architecture has nothing to do with farming. It's just a very rich man who has a farm and lots of people to work for him, and he is a very good guy here. Coming from farms and things was related to the highlands and to pastures and so on, we have the other source in Holland that are the fish and fishermen living near the waterside. This is a very nice place in Holland. It's Volendam. Maybe you have been there, maybe you have seen it. Volendam is a small city with a harbor on the Zuiderzee. Zuiderzee, what's now the IJsselmeer. It's an aerial view. Here you see a kind of harbor. It's a big harbor, and this is the Zuiderzee of IJsselmeer. It's a very straight line layout of the city, and all the houses have a fixed roof, and they are united in the street, but they have their private view. They don't are related in a row. They all have their own front, as you see on the next slide. Here you see such a fixed roof, and this is all made of wood. It has tiles on the roof, and it's related to the water on one side, mostly on the other side you have a small stream. Another fisherman place is here in Zee. It is somewhat larger. It has brick houses along the harbor and the church. Without the spire, it's gone off through the ages. But this is still the harbor, and we use that to keep it cheap. In Elburg, it's although a very small village city, they have their harbor in this place, and they made in the 17th century, so around 1630, 1730, in between, they made a very nice Renaissance type of protection wall with a canal around, and inside has a very and it's just like the old Rome did in the campus. They just had a very, just like New York, straight lines and no wrong ways in it. Here you see the church, and now you see the next picture, an aerial view. You see here the canal from Haak, here you see the main harbor, and here you see that cross type of city plan. Here you see the church, and this is a very elementary type of making a small village more or less related to the sea. Coming into the city, here you see the gate to protect this entrée to the outside, and here you see very small streets. Another city, Willemstad, translated William City. Willemstad is also related to the seaside in this part. There you have the inlet of the harbor, and here you have a very nice, more or less round protection wall and also a canal. The city plan is more or less the same type as Albert. Here is the main church, and here you see all smaller streets running. When you see it on the aerial view, you can recognize here is the main church, here is the main street, here is the harbor, this is the outlet and the sea. And here you have the big protection screen. We used that in the 80s war against the Spanish. Around that time we had 80 years long, very severe war with the Spanish people, and this was very good protection for them. Viewing from the church, you see today this scenery. It's very Dutch to you, I guess. Architectural scope has not many things special to say. It's more or less the city plan what's interesting, and of course this is not a mill to drain a canal or to pump water. This is just a corn mill or wheat mill to make flour. The other side is more or less the same. Here you see the main street, another church, and this is the big side where you have the explication going into the sea. And this is on the street with the cobblestone pavement, and in between, this was a former part of the harbor, but they filled it in because it didn't need anymore, and they put Greenland. The students in my university are trained to make site on the side a kind of survey, and they put it onto the side of a piece of paper, and here you see such a survey of the harbor inlets and all the architecture around this harbor. There's a cross section here. For the future architects here, it's nice to see how you can do it. On the next slide you can see it. This is just the harbor front. They do it by passes. They step certain passes, and then they measure the height and do the width. It's done very elementary. You have done it already on school, just as you can. So doing this. This is the result. It's not something like draw to show to your arms of PowerPoint. No, it's just to know what's going on, to get the feeling what a roof is, where the windows are placed, and so on. Here you see exactly all the cross sections of the streets. Here you see the whole elevation of the harbor there, the elevation of the houses, and now you see the details of the large house with all the details, all the things you need. This is more for the architects from interest than for the other people, but it's nice to show how we get a survey of a small city. Here I show you the map of Haak is a part of, it's near Amsterdam. Highland, you have part of New York, you call it still Highland, but it's pronounced Holland. Actually, this is a very nice city, but not on the seaside, it relates to a big river, Rhine. And in order to get the enemy out of this river, they had a kind of gates on both sides. On the waterfront here, the merchants loaded envelopes, their merchandise, and the extension of the city going on this side, and later on they extended here. Here you see the big wall going around, and in each place where you enter the city, you have a main gate. And there you have the water entering the city with the water gate. First I show you just the waterfront. It's not Ireland, but a city more or less related at the same time. Here you see the loading and unloading was still going on of the cargo and the nice elevations of the houses behind it. Another city like that, large harbor, large waterfront. And here you see such a gate, what we call Untitled Chapter, or water gate. Of course, here it's no use to private ships, because you have also bigger sites where the ship is or with chains or with other means they can close this inlet up. This is a very early survey, it's more or less schematic, of Delft, the city where my university is. And this part is the oldest part of exists. This is more or less a Roman canal. It's made by the Romans, it's a fossa, we call it, and we have found many relics of the Roman camps here. This is in New Church, this is the town hall, this is the oldest area, and then we enlarge it on this side and this side. We make new canals, and it's interesting to know how to do it. Of course, lots of farms start to live with their house near the canal on the front side, and they have their pastures in the backyard of their house. They have their cows there. As there are more people coming in, they just dig a new canal and they divided the land in two, made new rows of houses, and so the whole landscape became city. The landscape, the ditches, and the roads, they are now canals and crossroads, as you see on the next. This is a map related to the map in Sappenfield. That was the map after that. This is the map of Delft from the same time, made by the same man, Mr. Blau. Here you see the canals, and this is a deviation. This is very unusual. It's a very new type of canal. This is dated around 1600 when they laid this kind of protection wall. And still, this part of this wall you can find in the remaining houses. We still have a gate here and some smaller part of the wall you can see today. This is as Vermeer has painted Delft. Vermeer is a painter, well known. He has lived in Delft for many years, and I think this painting is one of the greatest he has done, showing this very nice waterfront of Delft from the south part. You see on the next slide an aerial view of Delft, and there you see the main part, the oldest part, this square with the new church, the town hall, and I ask you special attention for two houses standing here. You can't see them very well on this aerial view, but I show them here. Two very ugly houses, and they are very old. And one of my friends, an architect, got the opportunity to restore those houses, and it's very interesting to know how you should do that, because, well, nothing is very peculiar here. It's all well, we call them very old houses, no more. This is our type, it's a wave house, it's existing, nothing too long. But those houses are ugly, and how do you get the information how they were? Well, when you go into the files of the city, you find certain way you can find something. These are old paintings of the same houses. You can go a correction. The first few was this, and now you see the other correction. You see this stairway outside, the building outside, and here you see very nice what we call step elevation, stairway elevation, I should translate it, trapgevel. Here you see the parts of the town hall. He did restoration, here you can rebuild. The two houses are new complete, not rebuilt. They just searched a long time for remains of old parts. They still existed. I showed you on the next slide. This is on the attic. Here you see the remains of the old part of the roof and in former times. And here you see the old part of the window. And here you see other existing line. And they just like Sherlock Holmes went behind the crime. He just searched very thoroughly into this architectural part, and he found all kinds of relics he can use, and when he has used them, he took the old painting, it was just as it was. Here you see the map I give to you. This is Amsterdam. Here you see what Sappenfield told you about the extension of the city. The line here. But I'd like to ask your attention for more or less the half-round forms of the canal in Amsterdam. So when you're on one point, you never can see the whole canal always turning around. Amsterdam was in the golden age, the golden century, around 1700, the golden century, lots of merchandise from India, our East Indies, came to Amsterdam, and there was lots of good trade with England and everywhere in the world. So very rich people lived there, and they built their houses right along the canals. Here you see one of the canals with the houses, all cabins that all have their own elevation, and it was very, very special there, the skyline of the houses. Here I pointed out the skyline, and as I showed you, starting this lecture, lots of glass is used in the early times. Here you see enormous windows, and those windows have to be used to get the sunlight. We don't have much sun, but if we have sun, we like to catch it in our house. This is interesting, the two warehouses, the storage space where the merchants keep their merchandise. Of course, the architecture is different. Many gates to get the thing in. Here you have kind of sticking out piece of lumber where you can have your rope and you pull the things up to a certain height to get into the right place. Two very nice warehouses, very simple build, but very functional. The function of this large entree, the small windows to get some light, not a suddenly of nobody living there, and the main gate to get the carriages in to load the things on the carriages and go away into our city. The Sun and the Moon, that's the name of it. I'd like to explain the merchants were very rich, and this most simple line is just this square line, as we call it the throat elevation or hals elevation, neck elevation, you should say. I can't translate those words, they are very Dutch, but in order to make them nicer, they put enormous pieces of sculpture here. And sometimes they look like dolphins, sometimes like sea mermaids, but they are very attractive. And although they make a rich stone cut, I think the coronation comes the window here. Here you have the same hook to carry the furniture to a certain height. So when you move from one place to the other, you always have to move it with a rope here and to just you go up with your furniture and you open the window. Very special for the Amsterdam houses are that sometimes you have small shops here, and the people live above their shop in this mezzanine type of house. Here you will see some stones to give names and to tell what age it is, 1685. As the times go on, the people get more rich and they try to express this in their renovations of their elevations, putting very more Renaissance forms on it. Of course, the width of the houses remained more or less the same. They could put another elevation on, but they didn't change the width. Still, 1 century later, in the 18th century, they enlarged their elevation. I first would like to show you this is the elevation by Philip Springle, a very well-known architect, and he did it completely stone because his clients were very rich, and the introduced stone, which usually is very unusual in Holland, where brick is our main product. Here you see a new elevation put in front of 2 houses, and they connect it to one big mansion. And this is done in around 1700. Here you see a very large elevation. It's very classical looking, but you still can imagine it is actually our 2 houses they make together. I showed you all elevations showing the canal, facing the canal, and you get into problems when you have a kind of facade architecture going around the corner. It was very unusual to put another facade around the corner. So what they did is, you see it here, it's the facade on this side, and here they didn't care. You leave those, the cover was just flat on the wall, and they make their windows just where they like to have it. This is a very good order, which is used for your needs. Again, I show you the enormous amount of glass. It's about 10%, more than 10% glass in this elevation, and all very big height, so you can have medicine in it. Here you see better, and you can see another picture. All the elevations are leaning forward. That has 2 meanings. The first meaning is they trade dry very easily. The water trades off, and water is our main enemy. It's not only on the land, but also rain. When it rains very much in Holland. We like to keep the elevation dry all the time. Now we have much better systems to do it. But they had it, first they built the house leaning forward. And as you can imagine, when you walk in the street, this elevation is leaning a little bit forward. It can be frightening, which isn't. But the nicest thing is that the line from your eye to the window down and to the windows up is the length of the line is not the same, but it's less longer when you have a straight elevation. You can imagine when you have a straight elevation, this is from my eye to here and my eye to above. This distance is longer than when I move this forward. So it's a kind of optical illusion you can put in architecture. You can make architecture nicer by doing this. Of course, it is gained by this functional part, leaning forward for the dry. But then we found out when we do it, you get a real good optical illusion, and you can make your the scale of your window very much nicer. Oh, I'd like to have this back because this is very interesting. In the 18th century and the 19th century, lots of people were not wealthy enough to afford to live in such a very large house. So what happened, they divided the house in 3 or 4 parts, and one family was living just here, one here, and a third one there. You had one main entrance where they just, all the families used it, and the very poor ones, they used the basement and enlarged the basement on the sidewalk to have some more space to live in. We call that pot housing. It's a typical for Amsterdam. It's nowhere else to see in Holland. Well, we are coming now to a period in the Netherlands, and it's all over the world. It's a period of very bad architecture. It's not a special style. It's a kind of well, taking an old style and make it look like an old style. We call it the time of eclecticism. It's a time of style imitations, and this is an imitation of Roman and Gothic and French parts. This is our National Museum in Amsterdam, and Dr. Kuipers designed it purposely as an old Roman cathedral, but it has some French flavor and it has also some Gothic parts in it. This is the time while architecture all over the world was very bad. You have here the time that Sullivan and Richardson came with their new movement in architecture. And in Holland, we have a very well-known architect, although he is very well-known to Dutch people, that's near Berlage. Berlage, Burgelation, maybe you say it, Berlage, has changed, could never be changing architecture. He entered the competition in 1980-90 for a new stock exchange building. And this first drawing of this one is very neo-Gothic, and it hasn't to do with a new style. But each changed his ideas more or less, and this is the second drawing he made. You see he changed to more Roman type of architecture. It's more solid, it's more plain, and the third one is even more simple. He has made 7 designs for it, and in 6 of them there was a cupola on it, and the 7th he just left it out, and here you see what it is. It's a black and white one. I can't help it, it's not possible to get a color slide, but this is a very beautiful piece of architecture, very solid, plain brick, but was very typical for it. We left out here all the ornaments. The only ornaments you see are some corner parts, and of course here some areas. In the interior, it's very plain, and he uses steel where you should use it. In those times, it was very useful to have steel, but you made a piece of lumber out of it. You covered the steel as it was a wooden beam. But here he showed off steel as it was. This is the time that Sullivan made the forms follow the function. And in Holland we had Berlage with his idea about forms follow function, show off what is architecture, show off what is construction. He had several students working with him, but the students
found him too much a scholar, and they turned architecture into something more romantic. They took his simple thoughts about not the, nonsense-less decoration, but just useful things. But they tried to make decoration in forms. They made a piece of sculpture out of their architecture. They used very sculpture-type windows. And when you detail it, you can imagine a lot of fun they had to design windows just you can put on the street. Unfortunately, in this time, it was around 1910, 1920, there was a law made by the city of Amsterdam that for each plan an architect should make the elevations. They didn't mention that an architect should make the plans as well. No, they said the architect has to make the elevations. So what happened? The contractor made plans very badly, and the architect has to put up an elevation in front of it. So the relation between architecture and the facade was non-existing. It was all terrible. Here you see another part of the house. It was a simple development of this row housing, and here from the corner they made a kind of exposure and they put it around a window area. Detail, you see beautiful masonry and lots of skillful masonry. In that time, traffic was a new feature in living. Traffic was very important, and they extracted traffic by horizontal lines and a large size scale. Dealing with scale in Holland is always done. The scale, let you see the small house of the fisherman with the man standing there. So a very small scale. Here you see a very large scale. When you bypass with the car, you just count, not real, but just you see all those circles. And this is the line of the traffic. Behind here you have just the houses, but the relation between the windows and what's behind is not very well done. Unfortunately, those architects have the plans as well as the elevation, a much nicer house to become out. Frank Lloyd Wright was in the United States not very well known. This is around 1916. But in Holland, Robert van het Hof has designed a house exactly as Frank Lloyd Wright should do it. He was a very good follower of this kind of student. It's not known if he has studied at Wright office, but he was very influenced by his thoughts. And this house is now on the list of monuments in Holland. It's an exactly Frank Lloyd Wright house, but that's done in the Netherlands. You have seen a painting of Piet Mondrian, the early painting in 1916 of the tree. Around 1920, he has changed into abstract arts, and here is his composition in yellow, red and black and blue. This composition is very famous, and he, together with some architects, they gathered and they formed a certain group in Holland called the Style Group. The Style Group is very, very well known because they had lots of influence, national as international. The architect Rietveld was in the Style Group. He designed a house in Utrecht where you see a kind of rendering here. The next slide shows you the elevation. This has a large relationship with the painting of Piet Mondrian. The reality is, the next slide, this is a house made in 1923. It's a kind of game with planes and lines and color. In this time, color is used as a
codes from those times, they were very firm, as they usually are, and made the shoot. But he liked to have a large living space, and it was not possible to get it down on the main floor because he had to have his kitchen, and you can't, in that time you couldn't relate room space, just folding doors was not allowed. So what he did, he put just in the kitchen downstairs and made them, he put it wrong, well it's a living area, but actually he made bedrooms there, and on the top floor, the second floor, he made his living space, making a very large, wide area with sliding doors, and this is all lived in. And this was the only way he could get the effort of having a big, large living space without forcing the building product. This is rendering of perspective of the interior, and on the next slide you see how it works. Here you see a very well-known zigzag chair of result. I told you about the style group, and one of the architects together with Riesfeld was Owings, G.P. Owings. Owings has made a large living area, a large housing development, very plain and very rigid and very modern, we should call it. As I pointed you out, that when I started this movement into being very proper to construction and very not use many decoration, out and we felt very much more functional and they just say, well, it's a plane with holes in it, we call them windows, and well, this whole part of construction, it's a slab of concrete, and you can exactly have it built. In that time, a factory of Van in Rotterdam is being built using concrete with mushroom floors, and they put complete glass screen in front of it. This is kind of architecture you have done this many times in the United States. This is one of the first times in Holland these glass walls, those curtain walls have been used.
What year is that built?
This is in 1920s, maybe just I have to peek in my thing. This is done in 1928. It's the vanilla factory made by Brinkman and Van der Club. 1928. This factory is put on the list of monuments of good architecture in the Netherlands. And this is the last slide I show you now, that we have a short break to have a breath for the next performance. But this is an open air school. It's an open air school in 1929. It's well known because the architect Duiker is one of the architects who was trained by the idea of the style group, and here you see how functional this building is. This is for people, for children who can't be taught in and closed rooms, because the idea was give them as much air as possible. Probably they had some TV showing also too, but actually the idea was give them as much open air as possible. So all those windows can be opened, and you have large terraces where the school class move their furniture on, and you have school in the open air. Very functional, and the south part was extended balcony with glass balcony ready to become tall, and very elementary, no book? Well, I think we stop now just for a moment, otherwise I start speaking Dutch, because when I speak a long time I get a little bit confused in your language. Read it. 1900 was the man with the stock market, he designed that, just the end of the time, the style, imitation time, and in 1920, a kind of very extreme part of this movement is the style group, and the style group has influenced many, many architects all over the world. The painter is Piet Mondrian, the architect is Ewing and ours. There are some more, but not too, well, they are very important, but I think you should remember those names. And more or less related to this group is Dudok. Dudok is a more artistic, well, all are more artistic, but he is a very a romantic man again, and he was composing the town hall of Hilversum with lots of blocks, solid blocks, without any ornaments, only some ornaments in facing windows, and adding just a vertical line in it. Dudok had made a wonderful town hall in Hilversum. Unfortunately, I don't have a color slide of it. I also put on this blackboard the name Grand-Prix Molière. Professor Grand-Prix Molière is a very famous Dutch professor he was very famous in my university. He's retired now. He was mainly influenced by the idea that architecture should go back to the old skilled labors. The architecture is part of the human being, what you should get by just good masons, good carpenters, using their hands and using old tools. So no concrete, because concrete is a modern material. It's not it's not very how should you put it in an English word? When you have gold and silver are pure materials, and he thought concrete is not pure, it's just a mess thing with kind of other things, and you shouldn't use it. Brick is proved by the fire and is very nice material, and all the natural materials like wood and reed you can use, as well as tile. So he designed in 1926 a fantastic nice suburb near Rotterdam. He did a wonderful job on city planning, and this picture shows a part of this area called Rindbeck, a peaceful area in Rotterdam, Belgium. Here you see the architecture is just as it was in the 17th century, a very old-fashioned way of making gutters, a very old-fashioned way of making windows, and he turned back towards the old way of making buildings. And a complete difference when you see this type of architecture to one of the style group. They are completely opposite of each other. Well, this movement by Grand-Prix Molière has made a new school called the Delft School. Well, this movement is now past, it's gone, because it's taken over by other ideas influenced by Denmark and Swedish architecture. They are more or less related to this idea of using skilled labor. The Danish architecture certainly has some typical flavor of the feeling of the hands in all things they made, and they are very human in scale. The scale of this area is very interesting. The scale problems you have in the United States are quite large, because what is scale? If you have such a vast piece of land, people can live anywhere, and if you have a city like here, Muncie,
You just have a plot of land and you put your house on it, and you don't have the laws that you should go into details what we have, and maybe it's a certain game you have, because when you have a law you should make a certain building height, you should have a certain distance from the sidewalk to where your house starts, and you may not open places in it, then you get a kind of elevation, continuous elevation, but gives a certain scale to the street. The street has a scale, is the elevation here, it's the garden. The street, the sidewalk, the garden, and the elevation. And this makes the section of the street very nice. When you walk through the street, you feel those elevations, and you feel the complete design of it. And that's a little bit of that when I walk through mountains. There are maybe some places where you have that feeling you are in something, but it's not in many places. And I think for architects it's very fine to use the scale, to use the relation of your own measurement toward the building. Here it's very fine to the cars actually don't, they are bothering. They don't have to be there. Exactly the time didn't have cars so much, so this is a have to put it out, right. The size of this small garden is very fine because we have a small hedge here. If you have a garden and you put a small fence or a hedge, you get a certain scale from the garden to your house. This measurement is very important. When you're walking on the beach and you put this pole in the sand and you walk some steps and you put a next pole, you get a certain measurement. The old Egyptians lived in the desert. They had huge pyramids, and man can decide his side to the pyramids and from pyramids into eternity. This scale problem is anywhere on the world, and well, you can use it everywhere. You can use it in this huge, I should say kind of gymnasium. It hasn't much scale, but when you look at the doors, the windows, and so you realize how we are related to those windows. Not to this arch, but just to the windows. When you ever come to Rome and you see the St. Peter, the building is out of scale. When you see it so completely nicely done that the composition together is very well done. But as soon as you get into the set that you see the enormous columns and the basement of the column, it's tremendous size, out of scale. It's not more related to the human being. The old farmhouses in Holland have that scale problem very nice. I showed you the farmhouses. This is the elevation. Here you have the steps roof. And they make an enormous door because the carriage with hay on top have to go through to get the hay in. This is a door they can open on both sides, and they make a nice little door to farm to get in. So now you get a scale of the human being. Here you see the farm. It's not very pretty to look at, but you see the human being. Here you see this scale, and then you can size how enormous big this door is. When I bring the man out and I put this and make this and I make this drawing, and this is a dog, then you see in a drawing you can do everything. It's scaleless. Unless you put the size of a man there, then you see how big drawers are. Well, this is sideline. I think a scale of this area was very nice, and it was, well, however, it was related to more the old part of architecture, the skilled labor part. His aim is that he has put some more human scale in architecture. Well, this is a part of Holland, a city, Utrecht. It's taken from way up from the dome, from the big tower, and you see how crowded we are today in cities. No spaces where green is. You see no trees around, just dirty water canal, and now lots of traffic. with 12 million people, you need some more land. And on the first slide, I pointed out we had some reclaimed land in the Zuiderzee, in het IJsselmeer. It's the area of reclaimed country. So we made a huge line here, and we emptied this whole basin. We took out water, and we had nice space to make new farmhouses. Each dot is a farmhouse owned by the government, and now one can lease a farm there with the fields with it, and they are government owned. Actually, you see a very old line here. This is a former island. We had two islands, one is here, and the other one is here, Scotland of Earth. Those islands still exist, but they are not islands anymore, they are just hills in the countryside. I show you next page. First I like to explain, this is the main city and the port, and here are some dots here and here where other smaller villages, and this area is planned, the layout done during the Second World War, and they found out, the planners, that each child has to go to school, and the only way you can go to school is to give on what we call open bed, not like this, not like the kids standing. And in order to get every child to school, they make the size of the city where the child can move either that way or that way, and it's an open bed. So that was the distance of the villages. But just after the war, it turned out the children have their own pet, but they have also small bicycles, and they have each bicycle with small motors on it. So what happens, those cities are too close together, but some of them are just like in areas here, they are not very good developing. So the size, the measuring of the city, the villages in this area is not done, not well done. And in the next border, we have a much better solution. We put a much larger distance from each other, and we hope it will work, and there will not be no intention that spoil this idea. But you never know with all the satellite up, so. Here is that island, and on the next slide, you see the island. First this is the landscape. Just after we had emptied it, it's all sand and clay and lots of shipwrecks and everything you can see that the spontaneous vegetation is rich. Huge animals are coming there, rabbits and all kinds, and then they flower it and they make a leaf vine on it. It's kind of yellow flower. It's very fertile. They do it for several years, and then finally they get a first crop of wheat or wheat. This is the former island. Here you see the seawall, and this is the island. This is an old church. It's now converted into a museum. And this is the bottom of the sea, and now you see the new crop coming. A group of architects came together to make their plans on a new city in Holland, in this reclaimed area. And this is a typical architectural way of making new cities. It looks like a huge model on the drafting board. Actually, it's done like this. Here it has a large area of trees to protect the settlement of houses against wind, because it's all flat country, as you have seen. And around those, in this core, they have the houses nicely spaced with all kinds of cul-de-sacs to get in. And in the main area, you should say the common, they put churches, schools, and a shopping area on this part. I've flown over it, and it's very, very nice to look at. It's just like a scale model. But as soon as you get into it, unfortunately, the trees are not very big at this moment. Maybe it will be better, but it's too large a space. You feel a little bit lost. The older cities on the mainland, as Elburg I showed you, the rectangle with the small street, is much more close and much more cozy to walk in. It's just like Venice, there's a small street, nice scale, and here you are a little bit lost. The scale of man to this plane is too large. So what we try to do is now to put some more here to get that scale out in a better proportion. This is a church in that huge plain, the common, and this church is made by Professor Van der Broek and Bakema, all of concrete blocks and redwood. The same professors have made a new town planning near Rotterdam called Alexander Polder, and here we see exactly what is done in all the times. You have the ditches, you have the farmhouses, these are occasional hot houses, and all those straight lines are put in architecture. Mondrian, the painter, with the abstract painting, refelt with his house of more or less abstract planes, and now you see city planning with more or less abstract lines, very much related to the scheme of the pattern of our ditches. Here you have enclosures, small places where you have a nice scale, let us hope, because still it's in the planning and it's not made as now. But here you see a complete setup. On the next slide, I show you the old elevation of the canals in Amsterdam. Here you see a section. This is the house, this is just the street. Here you see broken canal, street, elevation. This type of housing has 25 people on a hectare, and I will translate this in one of your datas. It's about 9 people an acre, more or less. When the city grew, this is around 1700, the people grew and they didn't know where to put them. They divided the houses, as I showed you, in several layers, and they put more families in that house, but still it was not enough. So they filled in the canals, and in this place they made a new street and a kind of back alley here, and a smaller street here. This is the same type of housing. Here they have a smaller street, and they made a new row house there. Then you get 200 people on a hectare, but we're about 83 people an acre. So here you have 9 people an acre, so you can enlarge by just filling in canals to 83 people an acre. This was around 1900, but in 1920, when they started idea about city planning and making nice spaces for people, I showed you the picture of Utrecht from the Dom. You didn't see any area where one can breathe. This is the idea of Professor Piet Mondrian, nice row houses, large areas with green space. Here you see the section of a bigger street, and here you see some more trees. This house is about 40 people in hectare. It's 16 people in hectare. Because here you have 9, this is 83, and this is 16. So it's more than here, and still very spacious. And then in 1940, we start to have walk-up apartments with the same distance as you have on the canal, but we just use that as a big broad street for traffic. We need that, and that can house about 24 people on an acre. So you see more or less the relationship between the housing development and the total amount of people you can more or less nicely put together. And you should, when you live with 12 million people in one-third of Indiana, I think you need some organization. Here you see the walk-up apartments, and here you see just the row houses sketched together in a nice organization, as you have seen in the layout of Alexander Polder. Square lines, straight lines, and in between some parts. The ground floor of a walk-up is just here. There's a stairway. It's used for everybody. Here you walk into your apartment, you have a small bathroom here, the kitchen with the second bathroom there, where you can have your washing machines. And here you have the living room, the master bedroom with balcony, and 2 small bedrooms. Here you see the section of the walk-up apartments. Usually in the basement they have storage space for everybody. And this is just the row house with a very nice, more or less abstract elevation, more again related to the staircase. And the plan is very simple. You enter here, on the left side you see the kitchen. Here you have a kind of corridor with the stairs to the second floor. Here you have the mini living room related to the garden, and here you have a kind of storage space to put your bicycle and so on. A small bathroom here in total, a large bathroom, and 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. This is the section, and just on top of this place you have an extra light, top light. The way we make those apartment houses is very simple. We just build concrete walls. Only on the side we have some brick because the concrete exposed from inside to outside has also raised the problems that you get cracks because outside is very cold, inside is very warm, and the concrete usually can't take that enormous tension in between the cold part and the warm part, so usually we put some brick outside. Here you see the forms, they put them on, they pour the concrete, take the forms away, and so we build a house and we give it an elevation of brick. In the more village type of cities, we still use the pitched roof, and here you see no concrete roof, but just plain sheets of brick. You put some gutters over it and you have the pitched roof, and here in between you fill it in with windows, wooden windows, and some panels of all kinds of materials you can use. These are more elegant apartment houses near the Haak. They have an elevator, but they are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories high, so it's very expensive. It's much easier to have a high-rise using elevators than just 5 elevations. That's the kind of economy. Here a very nice sculpture by Andre Bolton, a well-known Dutch artist, who made this out of steel beams. It's all steel, I-shaped or U-shaped steel beams. This is a peculiar type of building. It's done in Berlin, but it's also done in Belgium. It's an apartment, high-rise, with only on the first, second, third, and fourth, and seventh, and 10th floor, a stop of the elevator. And here you have an internal corridor. It's inside the building you have a corridor, and each house has on the side of the corridor and above a house, a kind of maisonette. The section is, well, I just put it up like this. When you have the corridor here, this is a part of the house and it goes over the corridor, and the other house has this part and goes under the corridor. So the corridor is just a core of the transportation. And then you get a very thin elevation. You just travel up. Usually on top we have some efficiency apartments. In Rotterdam you have a mixture of high-rise with elevators, 2-story high apartment houses, and underneath all shops related to a big shopping area on the side of this. This is a shopping area at Zenga, and it's special, it's only for pedestrians. So the traffic stays out, and it's a very nice, the scale is very pretty. It has a kind of canopies, so you can walk in the rain, dry from one part to the other part, and it's all precast concrete, and underneath every shop can make its own face, can just do what's wrong. But above it's all more or less organized in a rhythm and scale. Here you see the shops, and there you see the high-rise. This is the shopping area. They have all kinds of displays there. Artists are just asked to put their sculptures there, and even the zoo has put some parapets on it to make it more lively. This is a very nice department store, the Beehive, there in Cork. It's made by one of your architects, Marcel Breuer. He is original not from the United States, but coming from the east part of Europe, and a Hungarian. And he is asked, he's very well known in the United States, and he has been asked to put up this department store. Of course, lots of Dutch architects are a little bit angry because they thought, well, don't we have good architects that they should hire a man from the United States? But now we are very glad we have it because it's a nice piece of architecture to look at. And you see the nice because of this piece of sculpture by Nam Bravo, also an American artist, who's immigrated in the United States. The common name for this piece of sculpture, it doesn't show something, well, it's not a mother and child or something like that, but it's just a piece of thing to look at. But the common man in Rotterdam, they like to give names to things, they call it a banana. Here's the detail of the banana. Very nice. They have a very big problem with the birds. They like to sit in that instrument, and birds have always their calling cards. And well, now they do something with very high music. A man can't hear it, but the birds are scared of. This is another new type of architecture. It's a core going up to the top, and there you have brackets out of the core. So the core contains the elevator and the stair shaft, and it's from solid concrete, and cantilevered out of the core and hanging from steel rods are these different floors. So this is a suspension building. It's all the load is suspended from the top and cantilevered out of the core. That gives a very nice facade and a very peculiar building. It's done in Germany many times, and this is the first time we use this building system in Holland. Well, you see, architecture is going more international than it was before this break. We are now in kind of architecture, it can be everywhere. It's not Dutch anymore, I think. This is our new opera house in Rotterdam. Although it's very nice, and maybe it has some Dutch flavor to you, to me it can be everywhere. It can be in Berlin, it can be in France. Well, it's used to happen to be in Holland. And it's not ugly, but it's not personal, and the scale problem is also a little bit difficult. Here is the only one thing you can scale yourself. Man can walk underneath it, but this has no scale anymore. It's just you can make the building larger and extend it, nothing happens. Here you see it, you can make it wider, you can do everything, and it's not architecture, it's just putting things behind the screen. Well, it can be nice, but the flavor, what you have seen from the older houses, is a little bit lost. Maybe we are looking for, well, we all, there's an international type of problem. We all look for the human scale, but we also look for large buildings, and we don't know to relate the scale to buildings. This is a development, this is a new station. You see, as we are now in the age of going to the moon, putting all kinds of objects in the outer orbits, the architects like to express themselves in larger expansions, larger spans, and this architect made this railroad station very friendly. He had a main beam going here, on 4 X-shaped supports, and this is just an umbrella with the ribs getting out, and here you have a curtain wall to fill in so the rain doesn't come in and the wind doesn't blow you away. So here you have a very nice span of a kind of umbrella over those 2 tracks, and underneath you have very tiny small scale houses, actually houses en route, where you have your snack bar, your waiting places, and so on, bookstores. So now we have a huge scaled canopy, as this shelter is, and in between we put human scale houses and things where one can relate himself to. Here you see the 4 trusses and the 4 suspension one, the main truss and the ribs going out. When you get a ticket, just in the station, you have a very nice roof. It's hyperbolic, parabolic. It's all straight lines in a certain direction, a very fun, tricky kind of system that is in very nice shape. Well, this goes into mathematics and just the architects, but we can use other fields to construct in a very simple way, because this is very simple. Going from this, if you can, when you have a square piece of paper and you bend this point high and this point high and those stay low, you get a line this direction, you get a line this direction, and then you can relate each point of those lines, and then you get that hyperbolic parabolic. That's this. Well, you figure it out yourself. Rotterdam has a subway, and what happens with the subway, sometimes you have to pop out of the ground, and in the south part of Rotterdam, here you have it on a high, looks like a monorail, but it's just a regular streetcar rather than a subway, and this is a new station. It's put up above the traffic, and in the core of the city it goes down, and it's a real subway underground. This model is a layout of a new university in the east part of our country. This is the Institute of Technology, number 3. We have number 1 in Delft, number 2 in Eindhoven, and number 3 in Twente. This is a very nice layout. The area is some woods, some open spaces in woods, and the architects, very careful, have spared the trees and tried to fill in the open spaces to put the architecture there and the layout of the campus with all the extensions you need for the future. And what is crossed here are extension places, and here you see some buildings in a model. Of course, on this side were several old farmhouses, and the architect turned this old farmhouse by adding new elevations and using the old pitched roof shape and formed this into student restaurants. I think it's a very nice job, and it has the flavor of an old pitched roof farmhouse, but it has also the features of modern architecture with glass and so on. In this technical institute of the Institute of Technology, lots of machines have to be stored and students have to work in laboratories, and in order to get as large as covered space, actually as much, but this is more or less related to the station I showed you, a minimum of supports and a large area of open space. Here you see minimum of support because each square is supported here on 4 squares are supported on 1 column. In order to have the light in between, so you have not only artificial light but also daylight in it. You can use 4 columns, but it's much nicer to put 1 and to have this tricky system pre-stressed, and so on. The architecture, well, when you put on the elevations on, it's very interesting to see what's going on. And here you see the architecture complete done. This is just the outside, and the inside looks even funnier. Here you have those columns, you have certain connections here, you have bridges, and in between are all spaces for the equipment and machinery. And still you have lots of daylight, so you can change your electricity a little bit. This is one of the department offices. It's not special, but it's clean looking, and here you see more or less the relationship with the huge trees already existing. In Delft University, we had a great need of a new auditorium, and the architects Professor Sappenfield and Professor Korab made this crocodile type of. And they can enlarge the stage over the seats of the professors, if you are awake, and they can have nice performances. I've seen their Spanish dancers, and it's amazing how nice it is to be in a circle, because this is a kind of gathering. It's much nicer than what you mainly do in a theater. You just stare at a certain point, as you do now. You don't see each other so much. But when you sit in a half circle, you just can wave to each other and have a lot of fun. And it's nice when you sit in a circle and something happens just in the center. This is a type of being together, but isn't very well. 1,500 people are much, a lot of people, but when you sit there, it's a kind of family reunion. Everybody looks at each other and you see many friends and waves. This ceiling is for the purpose of the acoustics. This is a bank in the Netherlands, and it's a small town development. It's all made of concrete in different shapes using texture. This is very smooth concrete, this is very rough concrete, and these are precast panels as we are going in to prepare the buildings more in fabrics than on the site itself. These panels are precast in the fabric and placed on the site itself. Here you see the complete elevation on the next side. You see how in this bank building the director has his house with his whole family on the first floor. So here the director comes up the stairs, and behind this entrance for his home. This is the interior of the bank with a huge piece of Woollen. It's the city with all his small villages around, and the cows and the trees and so on. It's a very informal type of bank. Your banks are a little bit better protected by robbers and so on. And we have still the idea that we have to change it, the idea of, well, we are doing some trade that is very fun. Our vaults are they are very ugly usually. The doors are very rigid and not very pretty to look at. So actually I myself put a star on it to give it a more humid, a more human look. It's much more fun to look at some color than just that money. There's another development in Delft where you have a new city coming up outside Delft. It's called Delft, New Delft. Here, large high-rise apartment houses. This is a shopping area, and here I'm going to build a bank. And because it's a very small one, you have to compete with an enormous size of elevation of that high-rise apartment going up way up here. So that's the reason I put in supports main masts, and hanging from the mast this hyperbolic paraboloid. So actually you see in the interior only 3 columns, and that's all. And this is just pure concrete, and in between the roof and the concrete is glass. So here you see the model. This is the glass in between, and you get a nice reflection through the reflection forms here against the roof, and the light is coming into the lamp. Here you see the reflection forms. You go over the bridge, and of course it is also for burglars and robbers a little bit difficult to get in because you get wet feet on this place. Those rods are just all, well, this is all the stress you need to hang this wooden roof on. And the roof is only 5 centimeters, it's 2 inches thick, it's not too heavy, and it's concealed against surround on those points. So it's a very rigid roof. And of course it's nice to look at from outside, way up in the apartment house. You always look at flat buildings with some pebbles on it, and now you can have some waves to look at. Well, this is the section, and that's not very interesting. The next slide shows you, and that's more or less the end of the slideshow, it shows you a piece of architecture not too far from here. It's near Pittsburgh. 3 days ago I visited this piece of architecture. This is beer run by Frank Lloyd Wright. Here you see how man can build their shelter in a very nice area of wood. This is typical man-made, but as you should read all the essays of Frank Lloyd Wright, he tries to use the natural materials and putting them on the side and connecting them into a house. Well, I think it's a beautiful job, and I talked about Dutch architecture. I should say it's worthwhile to have a lecture on American architecture as well, because what you have is fantastic nights. I have been in New York in several places on Lincoln Center. It has amazed me because it's so nicely done. It has a certain relationship with man. It has a good scale. Although it's difficult to get in between the high-rise, the skyscrapers, and nice space. Well, it's worthwhile to look at, and it's very difficult in this country to deal with the scale problem. Well, architects are always fond of exploring things, but architects are the translators of what man needs as a functional dwelling. Well, our first needs for mankind are food and clothing. Food to stay alive and clothing to stay warm. And the second piece is a shelter to shelter yourself for, let's say, the rain outside. We are sheltered now very well. It's a second part in human mankind. We need shelters, and architects are providing shelters to man and also to machines. Now you can put shelters in different ways. You can say, well, as you can have food and clothing in different ways. You can just eat for the sake of staying alive, or you can have a very elegant dinner with things put in this nice chandeliers, with lights and very pretty silverware and china and so on. That's not for the sake of eating alone, it's just to have fun together, to make the food more than only eating. So you have your clothing as well. We dress ourselves not only for getting warm, but also we are a little bit proud and we put a tie on. Well, we express ourselves much more in our ties. Unfortunately, we don't have much means in man's clothes, but women can do much more. Kings have an enormous robe if they are just as a king, and this robe is not to shelter himself, to keep himself warm, it's just to ordain, it's given some kind of dignified, he's an old person as just as long without that robe. And now I get into architecture again. Architecture can be just a shelter, but it can also be a kind of expression what you should like to do. The house of the Lord Mayor is a different house when it's the town hall as just the house you live in. The house of a let's say, our king or queen, well, it doesn't appeal to you so much, but it's a different house as a house just for a regular person. You wouldn't put your president in a shack. You should have a nice mansion for him because he's president. Your Lord Mayor has a special home holiday in your country where you put him in during his the time he's Lord Mayor, also the president of the university. So architecture is going from just a shelter, just the utility form, into a more or less monumental form. And you can make a straight line from utility to plain monumentality. And in between you can put all architectural features. When you make a factory, it's more or less utility. When you make the house of the office near the factory, it's not only utility, but also a little bit show off also what kind of place in this human relationship has this factory. And architects are always willing to express the thoughts of mankind into architecture. And this idea you have to catch, because this has to do not only with scale and human beings, but with the whole environment of the human being. Well, maybe you think it's over. It's the start of you in this school, of your, I hope, a brilliant architectural career for all of you. And I hope, as we have done for ages, we have tried it for ages, to make our country, our small country, livable for all of us, all 12 million. I hope you will all do the same to your country and to get a little bit more organized forms where you need it sometime. As I look at your city, it has beautiful sites, but also it has still very unbeautiful, maybe ugly sites. And it's your task, young architects, to get this transformed in very nice places.
Quite a few of the slides, there were very high-pitched roofs on most houses in Holland. I was wondering why this is.
Well, that's a nice question. The high-pitched roof is usually done because the tiles we have are, in the early times, just handmade. That means when you just put one on the other, they overlap each other a little bit, but the wind can blow east and underneath. We have a very low-pitched roof, well, wind and water comes in easily, and you just can use no tiles because it's leaking immensely. Of course, there's a certain degree when you can start using tiles, and it's usually at 30 degrees, up till 90 degrees, but then you have to be very risky job is strongly better because then you get up so easily. So in between 30 and 90 is the way you should use them. And of course, we always use more or less the 50 degrees on both sides, so we have less than 90 degrees in the top angle. There's a cover for your question. Yes.
I'd like to ask you, what is the difference, or what would be the maximum, the water, and the land, the distance?
Well, we have places in Holland where we are 11 till 12 meters, that's about 36 feet below sea level. So we have places when they are flooded again, you are 36 feet under water. So the cover in between each step from ditch to ditch is no more than, let's say, more or less 1 meter. From one part to the other part. So you have several steps in a hole from the lowest part to the highest part where it can go into the sea.
What I was thinking of, when they had floods, I was reading about floods, the Mississippi and the Ohio River overflowing. Then they built these levees. Yeah. And there is a time when the dikes, the levees don't do any good because the pressure of the water is going around under Is that up the land?
Well,
I was thinking of that distance.
yes, well, of course we have suffered this in the early times, but we had very solid clay, and the build-up of the dike is in several layers. You use different types of clay. Some parts of the clay we have to take them out of the North Sea and to bring them in, because we don't have that kind of clay anymore on the vast land. But in the early times we had it, and they found out when you build it regularly. So in this type, you, let's say, in the iPhone here, this is the deepest point. You have to make somewhere a dike in it. So you just drop all kinds of dirt in the water, and it's done by ships. And ship is two doors underneath, but they have two compartments with air in it, so it can't sink. So when you have a section of the ship here, this is the water, this is an air compartment, and here you have those doors, so we can open it like the satellites open, just the same way, and then all kinds of stones and dirt falls on the bottom. And this continues for days and days, and then finally the dikes get above water level, and then they reinforce it with all kinds of clay and big stones we import from all the other countries. And then finally we make a nice rug of twigs. It's a very old-fashioned way of reinforcing our dikes with huge works, I would say. It's about big and vast, very vast surfaces, and they float them on the water here, and when they are on the spot, they just let them sink, and it comes here. So the bottom is of the dirt is held together by those rugs. And the rugs can't float about because they are very heavy, made very heavy with all kinds of pieces of rock. Now we are using nylon and plastic as well, instead of that very old-fashioned rug of twigs. Well, I'm not a dike builder. Your beavers are doing very well. I think their system is more or less familiar what we are doing. So, and they don't have that problem, so, well, we haven't either. I hope this covers you well. I'm not a dike builder, I know a little bit about it, so I hope you will take it for granted.
I observed from your talk and your slides and something, a sense possibly that the Dutch architect has, the American architect may not yet have. I wonder if you feel like expanding on it. It seems that your architects are very aware of the scale, as you say, the scale of the city, and how each building that they do fits into the fabric of the city. Do you think possibly that architects there, because they live in a more dense society, have a better sense possibly than ours, and when to do a piece of architecture, which is a very singular thing, a very fine statement, when to do something that fits in with the overall fabric of the city? Do you think there is a sensitivity that develops in that direction in a more dense society?
Well, as soon as you have to be very careful with your sites, and there is really no place in Holland where you have to be careful. Everywhere we have these sites, you have also a certain relationship to the environment. And, well, you can have sites just way out in the woods, and you don't care so much. Then you only have to relate to your human beings, and you have to relate to your clients. Maybe they like all kinds of special, well, sometimes they like to play ping pong table, you have to provide a big room for it. So that's this main reason to give a certain area, but that's just a detail. And it's no sense to speak this. I think when you have sites related to other pieces of architecture, you should be very careful what you're doing, especially in cities or in villages. Usually there are some zoning laws, they provide a certain height, but they also say you may not build higher than a certain amount of meters. And you have to use thatched roof, or you have to use a pitched roof, or you have to use flat roof. Well, that is all put down in certain codes, certain building laws. It's not that far maybe as I pointed out. It's sometimes very difficult for us to get away of it because you always try to read in between lines, but not to make something extraordinary, but just to make something that's more of this age, because each law has also kind of trend to make it traditional, so you can't go into modern things. The relationship to the neighbors is always very important to Dutch people. When you put up a building and it doesn't fit in the site and it's not in relation to the neighbors, you have to enforce shop. And we are very well, it's built in probably in our feelings. I think when you have no space, you get easily into this problem and you don't know how to do them all away. Only when you have just a complete free area with no neighbors, you can put up architecture just as you want. As you have seen the Opera House, well, it's a piece of architecture on itself and has no relationship with the site around. Well, you have a special type of architecture. Yeah?
I believe the other students, such as myself, are rather curious. During the first half of your presentation, you showed 2 slides, I believe, sketches done by the founding pencil.
Yes.
Of some of your buildings. I would like to know what year the student was in your school of architecture.
Which year? Well, the question is maybe you haven't heard it behind. Which year was the student who made that drawing of the site of Williams City, the harbor site? Well, this student was not a freshman. He was in the 3rd year, and in our university they started from your 1st year till your last year. We have 5 years course. You start freehand drawing and you stop with freehand drawing. It's everywhere. It's your whole family in school you are dealing with hand drawing. So he has skills for 2 years.
I think that we might end the questioning there. This is, if you have any vocal